welcome to Friday's Reflections. I hope you've had a lovely week. I hope you've managed to make the most of the dry weather and get out, whether it's been in daylight or the evening or sunset or sunrise. I hope you've been able to appreciate the beauty of the season. I've had some really lovely walks this week and seen really beautiful things that I hadn't actually noticed before. There's something about going to familiar places, isn't there, and building up your knowledge. I think maybe it's something about being connected to the land and knowing what you might see, but also being open to what might be new. And two walks. Well, actually, there's three I can share. 3 walks. One was down to Tewinbury, to the Hyde. At sunset, it looked like being a beautiful sunset, so I thought I'm just going to go, and it was the sky was clear, so I knew it wasn't going to be a very long sunset, but it would still be lovely. And I got to Tewinbury, and it was beautiful, really, really cold, and nobody in the Hydes. And as I looked down, I went to the upstairs one. And the first thing I noticed, right in the distance on the water, were a little pair of teal. And I'm familiar with their silhouette now. They're quite low in the water and quite long and narrow, smaller than mallards. And sure enough, when I looked through the binoculars, I saw the glorious greeny colour on the male's face and in his wing feathers. And they were beautiful, just still as anything, like a decoy duck almost on the water. They were gorgeous to see. And then there were 3 dab chicks, those beautiful little grebes that if you get them in the right light have got the most glorious colours on them. There were a couple of coots and some mallards. And then as it got darker, there's the reeds there, the yellowhammers roost in the reeds, and it says on the board there that there's around about 70 of them, and we counted them, and we got past 30, and those are just the ones we noticed, and it was wonderful to watch. They don't come in flocks. Most of them come in ones, occasionally 2s, and the most was a 3, and then they come in and they literally drop like a stone into the reeds, and that's it. And it was just, there was something wonderful and timeless about watching them. And then something I hadn't noticed before, there were redwings, and I've seen redwings at Tewinbury before, but they were gathering in the treetops, and there was some looked like some. They were roosting in some conifers nearby, some big old conifers, but they were gathering first, and that was wonderful to watch. And it was just beautiful. So stayed there as long as I could cope with the cold, because when you're still, although I've got lots of layers on, you really feel the cold. And then I went back via the magpie roost that I discovered last year, and that was lovely. It's the third time I've been this year, or this winter, rather, twice this year and once just before the new year. And it was beautiful. It was a little bit that the sun had gone down, so it was getting very dusky, but the magpies were in the trees, and they were just incredible. 100, maybe more than 100, and then a great big clump of jackdaws. Not as many as last year, because last year I think there would have been between 500 or 700 of them roosting there, but there seemed fewer this year. Whether that was just they were coming later, I don't know, but it was wonderful walking past and hearing their lovely callings to each other as they settled in for the night. And I thought one night I want to stay until you get to the point where they just suddenly stop and become quiet. And the other thing I want to do is go back in the morning, early in the morning, to watch them all leave and just experience them at a different time of the day. And then as I walked back along the streets from there were still some jackdaws flying over in, I don't know, kind of clumps of 50 or more. So that was beautiful. And then the other walk I did was today, and it was just along the streets this afternoon, and it was beautiful. And that even along the streets, there are so many birds to see. There were goldfinches, there was a beautiful little wren, lots of robins singing. But my favourite thing I saw was the first bumblebee of the year. It was a buff-tailed bumblebee, and it was on winter honeysuckle. I think it's winter honeysuckle. I looked it up and it looked like the right plant. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's freezing for a bumblebee. But there was plenty of flowers on this plant, and there were also some viburnum and full flower, and they smelt wonderful. And then there are some witch hazel nearby where this bee was. So I assume and hope he had enough food, but it was so early. And I thought, I'm going to record that as my first bee of the year. It might be something, quite a nice thing to do. It's almost to record first things of the year. So I've got a bumblebee, and I might just see how that goes on throughout the year. But with all those things, it made me think about a scripture and how even in a familiar place, you can see new things, but you need to be open, looking and active, don't you really? And with that in mind, I'd like to share with you a scripture. It's a beautiful scripture, and it's from the Old Testament this week. It's from the book of Isaiah, and it's chapter 43. And it's verses 18 and 19. It's very well known, but it's lovely, and I would think it's really relevant at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of anything new in your life, really. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. I'm going to read that again. It's so lovely. So it's Isaiah 43, verses 18 and 19. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And it just made me think about new things and how your mindset's really important, isn't it? You can almost have a closed mindset and not notice things, and you can always trap yourself in the past. And I thought that the walks that I'd done so far this year, I thought God had really showed me new things, and that was really encouraging. And I want to kind of keep that mindset, because it's very easy at the beginning of the year to have all these thoughts about new beginnings, and then as you go on and the year goes on, you can forget about them. But I want to hold that sort of, see, I'm doing a new thing, and I want to have that mindset, not just when I go out walking with nature, but when I'm with people, or my family, or in church, or wherever, and just try and look through the filter of that scripture. And that's really what I'd like to share with you this week. So I don't know what you're doing this weekend, but if you can, get out somewhere that may well be familiar, where you think you know that area, but look at it with fresh eyes and see what you notice, because there's always something new to notice in God's creation, and that helps in a sense. It helps. It just helps me expect more from that scripture. It's a kind of a lovely image of can you not perceive it? Look, it's there, but we just have to open our eyes. It's can be so easy, can't it, to rush through life or relationships or anything with this kind of closed mindset. And I really don't want to do that. I want to take time and appreciate all that God is doing, not just think about what he will do, what he is doing. And that's it. I'm going to Luton for the weekend, so I'm so looking forward to spending time with the family, although it's not long since they went after Christmas, but I can hear all about their week. Shaquille had a Viking day today, so he had a Viking costume on, and Sophie sent me a picture of him looking great with this incredible costume. So I'm looking forward to and I'm going to go there and look at I'm going to pick him up from school tomorrow, so I'm going to look at that route, and I'm going to look with different eyes, because I'm quite familiar with that one now, and see what I notice there. So so whatever you're doing this weekend, look at things with a view to seeing God revealing something new to you. And also expect that in your own walk with him. If you're around on Sunday, please do visit us at Pansanger Church. The service is at 10 o'clock. You are so welcome. I'll be worshipping in the church in Luton, because I'll be there this weekend. So it will be great to still be worshipping God, but just in a different area. And again, I'll have that scripture in mind as I go to the Methodist church there in Luton. So have a really wonderful weekend, and I really look forward to sharing with you next week. And just keep those eyes and ears open and be alert to God doing new things in and around you. See you next week.